Welcome back. Let's now talk about the Develop tab. This is where you'll be spending most of your time developing scripts. So from here, you can create SQL scripts to run against the serverless and the dedicated SQL pool. And you can write KQL or Kusto query language scripts to run against the Data Explorer pool, notebooks to run against the Spark pool, and you can create data flows. These are the mapping data flows from Azure Data Factory, and you can create Spark job definitions, and also you can browse the gallery and add any of the notebooks or SQLs or KQL sample files you can find there into your workspace as well. So let's look at adding one of the sample SQL scripts. So I'm going to go into Browse Gallery, and then I want to add a SQL script. So I want to get something simple. So say we want to query a Parquet file. You can click on that one so that I'll have some sample scripts for Parquet files, and I click Continue, and it shows you the script, and it's got a few tags as well, and you can see whether they are of interest to you. And as you can see, it's reading the top 10 records from one of the Parquet files, which is publicly available, and it's got a few variations of how to query a Parquet file, which is great. So if I have a requirement to query a package file, I would come here. I'll take that example, and then I can build my own script. So what you can do here is now click on Open Script, and that'll open in our Synapse Studio. In order to run this SQL file, we need to connect to a SQL pool. In this case, it'll be the serverless SQL pool. So let's pick that. So here you can click on the drop-down, and then built-in is our serverless SQL pool, and it's using the demo database that we created. But it doesn't matter in this case, and I'll talk you through the databases and when you want a specific database and things like that when we talk about the serverless SQL pool later down the course, but for now. So now that be connected to the serverless SQL pool, we can execute this script. I just want to execute one statement. Let's click on the run, and then it'll execute the statement, and it's going to give us the results, which is great. We've got the query executed, and we've got the results here. Also want to show you a couple of other things. If you wanted to rename the file, you can do it here. So under Properties, you can just say this is a demo query Parquet files, for example, and that's been renamed, you can see there. And if you wanted to hide the Properties tab here, you can just click on that, and then that will go away. Otherwise, you can bring it back here. And one of the things is actually you can create folders to keep your files, because you don't want to have all your files underneath the same folder. You would want to group them based on your projects and the functionalities they are performing. In our case, let's say, actually, we want to put it under a folder called Demo, so you can create a folder called Demo. Once I've created the folder, I should be able to just simply drag and drop that into the folder. So the file is now part of the folder. And the other thing you want to know is once you've created something and you want to save it, you click on the Publish All button so that it saves the file in Synapse. So let's click on Publish All, and it says, actually, I've got a new file to be published, and then you click Publish and that will be saved. So that way you're not losing any of your changes. In this case, we've just imported a sample SQL file from the gallery. But if you're creating something from scratch, you've got a couple of options. So one is to come over here and then say, actually, I want to create a SQL script, and I could just put my SQL statements there. So in this case, I'm just doing a select 100, and I can name the file whatever I wanted. So if I just said actually demo file, that would be the name of the file, and I can pull that into the folder again. There's also a cool feature within Synapse which lets us create SQL scripts with select statements or create external table statements using the tool itself, so we don't have to hand code the select statement. In order to do that, you come over to the data. For example, if we want to select the top 10 records from the taxi zones file that we imported, you come over to taxizone.csv, and then you can just right-click on that and then say, I want a new SQL script which contains the select top 100 rows statement. So if you click on that one, that will create the SQL script. But you can also do the same thing with the notebooks or data flows or integration datasets and things like that. So let's do the select top 100 rows SQL script, and here you've got this select statement in this script, and you can rename the SQL script. Let's say it's query taxi zones, and you can also pull that into your folder. So in order to do that, you go over to Develop, and then you can just pull that over into the demo folder. So we got a script here already written for you, and that's given to us by Synapse itself, which is pretty cool. And let's publish that change as well. There's one more thing before we finish this lesson is if you want to export these files, then you can just come over to the top right here next to the properties icon here on the three dots and then click on export, and that will export the file into your local computer. So here I've got the query taxi.zones.sql file. So that's the end of this session, and I'll see you in the next one.